Jens, what do you think? Mathieu van der Poel and Wout van Aert go way back. They've raced against each other since they were kids, on the road, on cyclocross. We have seen them looking at each other a bit too much in races gone past and losing the race consequently. Do you think that that's still a part of Mathieu's tactics, that he's as much trying to stop Wout from winning as he is engineering a race outcome for him if, for example, he feels like he's not going to win that race?
I 100% agree with Adam for the first part when he passed the world champion. I mean, if the world champion is chasing somebody, you're pretty safe that he will be able to chase that down when Mats Pedersen attacked and Wout went after that. But to let the race go for personal rivalry, that is maybe a little too far, or it shows too little of a character. If you're willing to sacrifice a monument for personal rivalry, then you go, oh, man, I don't know, maybe you should rethink that. Normally, you can clearly tell by the body language. Pogacar attacks, then they all chase full gas. You see it on their faces, their body language, the position on the bike. And then there's a certain click moment where then what Adam says sets in, I don't think we catch him, but now I need to save myself for second place. That's when the leader goes away and they play poker games with each other. We didn't really have this moment so clearly as it often appears on the last weekend. I think Mathieu just realized, okay, I couldn't follow him on a climb and I cannot chase him back. If I chase him back, I got, the other three sitting on my wheel and they all gonna outsprint me, also Mats Pedersen. So.
I think with it as well is that in that situation there, the reason I don't think they're committed is because Tadej had 28 seconds at the bottom of the top of Paterberg, so he had a big enough gap. At the end, it was a minute. Yes, he slowed down towards the end to play for the sprint. There's 4 riders against 1, and it's just not any 4 riders. You've got Wout van Aert, Mads Pedersen, Jasper Stuyven, and Mathieu van der Poel. That's 4 of the best riders in the world against 1, and he kept that gap, just kept going. Yes, there's maybe motorbikes in front of Tadej a little bit more, but I just think for those guys, that wasn't 100%. At least they should have been able to hold that gap, not let it just keep creeping out a little bit. And maybe it's not the rivalry, but I just think that if one's not committed 100%, everyone else starts to look around. And especially in a group like that of 2 world champions in there, Wout van Aert and Stuyven, who's won San Remo, it's like you don't want to play with fire and get your fingers burnt a little bit, and I think that's what we're all afraid of slightly.
Well, because we've had this conversation a lot, haven't we, while we're watching bike racing off the TV, and I think you maybe feel that Mathieu does want to get into Wout's head, maybe more than Wout is thinking about that with Mathieu, and I think we can assume that's maybe, Mathieu has been more successful of late. However, you look at their win rates, and I'm quite surprised by how close they are. Mathieu has 53 wins on the road in his career. Wout has 49. It's always recency bias that gets in the way. I assume Mathieu had maybe gone further ahead of that by now. Mathieu does have 7 monuments to Wout's 1, but Mathieu only has 1 Tour de France stage to Wout's 9, and then when we're looking at World Championships, it's 7 for Mathieu to 3 for Wout. Obviously, Mathieu is the in-form rider right now, but do you think this is a rivalry that works both ways in terms of that psychology of trying to get into each other's heads? Have they matured any in the last years?
I don't necessarily think that's... When we watch them in these races, these are like the monuments we're concentrated on. Black and white, Mathieu is better at racing monuments than Wout is. That's a given. So I think that with just the classics on its own, Mathieu has always been the better rider. So Wout will have a little bit of... I'm sure he'd exchange 40 of them wins for at least 2 monuments, probably. So if you look at that and you go, OK, then that's clear where that rivalry comes from. Mathieu, I think, in his rivalry with Wout, is that you get this period of the classics, and within the year, Wout gets all the grief from the media because he's not performing as he should do. You then go into the Tour de France season, Mathieu goes quiet, and Wout's image goes up. And that lasts for longer because it's 21 days. So I think there's that rivalry in terms of Mathieu can do this better, but Mathieu can't do this better than what I can. So the two completely, very similar riders, but for me, Van der Poel can't do the Tour de France like Wout can. Wout is more of a Tour de France rider for me than he is a classics rider. He's very good at it, obviously, but I would, if I was picking a team and I had those 2 to choose from, for the Tour de France, I'd pick Wout. Same for the Classics. I'd pick Mathieu over Wout.
Okay, so here's the question then, because it has been 5 years now since Wout won his monument, Milan-San Remo. Given the different characteristics of the two riders, of course Mathieu also works in service of his teammate, mostly Jasper Philipsen, but in a very different way when it comes to the Tour de France. He's a lead-out man. Wout can do anything and everything for his team. If you had to pick one of those two riders, Jens, for a team at the start of the season, given everything that they could do across that season, which rider for you is the most valuable?
Just looking at numbers and success, by pure logic, you have to go to Mathieu van der Poel.
Even with everything Wout can do for the team and the success that he brings to the team in terms of support and, you know, Tour de France for Jonas?
Well, Mathieu helps Jasper Philipsen winning all these stages. He's a short role, but these 20, 30, 40 seconds Mathieu is working are so crucial to make Jasper Philipsen win tour stages. So that is also, he's reliable in that specific role. He cannot lead out a mountain sprint or a mountain stage, but they don't have a GC leader, so they don't need somebody like Wout van Aert in their team because they never go for GC. And Wout maybe, see in the Tour, yes, he gets a little bit of freedom to chase the stages, but then it goes now. Work your guts off for Jonas. Mathieu never have to do that, so he can be more relaxed in the Tour. Maybe Wout could go, you know what, I sacrificed my Tour rider quality a little bit to become more of a specialist for the Classics, and then I can go face-to-face with Mathieu.